What's up, guys? Appreciate the 4 of you that are here early. What's up, people? Gonna get this tweeted out. All right, we got people rolling on in here. Everyone, let me know what you're drinking. You guys know the drill here on Hops with Pop. We have graduated from crappy stadium pizza to a beer. How about that? We are drinking a little Golden Road Mango Cart, a classic here in Southern California. Golden Road, unless I'm mistaken, is a San Diego brewery. Los Angeles brewery? Am I wrong here? Yeah, no, Los Angeles brewery. There you go. Not usually a fan of fruity beers, but this is what they had in the press box after the game. And a rule here on Hops with Pop is we do not turn down free beer. So we'll let people trickle on in here. Just tweeted out the link, so we should get all of our folks in here. Let me know in the chat what you guys are drinking tonight. $805's in the chat. 805's in the chat. Throw your 805's in the chat if you're drinking an 805. Michelada. Love that. Miller Lite. Love my people that drink the cheap American beers. Budweiser, Coors Light, Miller Lite, Bud Light, all accepted here. All accepted here. Not only accepted, but enjoyed. Enjoyed. The level up from accepted. We accept all beer here, especially free beer. I personally feel like these streams are higher quality when I'm drinking a beer. I don't know about you guys. We got a Guinness. We got some Pacifico. We got a Modelo, little Hennessy and Coca-Cola. Love that. Little Modern Times. What Modern Times are we drinking, Timothy? Big fan of Modern Times. That is a San Diego brewery. We got Johnny in the chat. He's catching Hops with Pop live. Love to see it. We got a Sierra Nevada in the chat. We got a little Mind Haze, which is Firestone, right? Firestone, yep. We got a little Heineken from Johnny. Shout out Johnny for being in here live. 394 Pale Ale. Haven't heard of that one, but I'll check it out. We got Kirkland Boxed Cabernet. Living the life. I love that. Get you down. Oh, you want to get me down to San Diego? Ross says I got to get down to San Diego for a taco tour for sure. Absolutely. Fremont Sky Kaken? I don't know what that is. Wolf Pup Session. I believe that's another Firestone beer. Love that. I live very close to the Firestone Brewery. What number beer am I on? I'm on my first. But we'll be having more because Succession finale tonight. Appreciate all these people being in the stream when we could be watching the Succession finale. So we'll keep this relatively short because I'm looking forward to that. We got a Busch Light in the chat. Javier's got a Mango Cart. That's what I'm drinking. Whoops. There we go. All right. We got people in here. Let's talk about the game. All right. So the Chargers beat the Giants. Final score of 37-21. Final score was closer than this game was. The Chargers absolutely dominated. The fourth quarter, they put a bunch of backups in. Had some special teams mishaps. Ty Long shanked a punt after the protection broke down. He had a onside kick that went off Parham's hands. So I wouldn't read too far into that fourth quarter. Chargers were up 37-7. That was more indicative of how this game went. Justin Herbert is an MVP candidate. Period. End of story. That's it. And this guy, to use the Brandon Staley term, because I've started talking like Brandon Staley, this guy's playing out of his mind right now. And he had some road bumps earlier in the season, Ravens game, Patriots game, but he has emerged from that dry spell. Just looking at some of these numbers, third in the league in passing yards, tied for second in passing touchdowns, got close to 300 yards rushing, 2 rushing touchdowns. He's fifth in the league in drop back. He's first in the league in fourth quarter comebacks, tied for first in the league. I don't know about you guys, but certainly sounds like an MVP candidate to me. Oh, I'm in my office now, and so the connection might not be great. But my girlfriend and my family, who are all in town to come to this game today, are watching the Succession finale in the other room. So I'm stuck over here. So if I get glitchy, if it cuts out, just let me know in the chat. So Justin Herbert playing like an MVP. I gave you all of those stats. And he had his MVP moment tonight. He, 3rd and 11, end of the half, 40 seconds left. Chargers are being aggressive there, trying to score. They got set behind the sticks a little bit. Herbert hit Guyton on the first down. And, a couple setbacks there. Protection broke down. Justin Herbert tried to scramble. He got sacked. Aaron Robinson, their Giants corner, got home on a corner blitz, and Justin had to get rid of it. So they're facing a 3rd and 11, and Justin Herbert drops back at a shotgun. He's got a 3-by-1 look at a shotgun with Mike Williams isolated to the left. He's got Jared Cook in the slot to the right, Guyton in the middle, and then Josh Palmer on the outside. Drops back in shotgun. Lorenzo Carter beats Rashawn Slater off the left edge. He senses the pressure, rolls out to his right. Guyton is running an option route out of that middle spot and the 3-by-1 on the right side. And so basically how they game planned it and how they schemed it up, Joe Lombardi, Shane Day, the whole offensive staff, Justin Herbert, Chase Daniel, the whole quarterback room, how they schemed it up was, okay, we're going to run this option route. If the Giants are in a single high look, meaning one safety in the deep part of the field, then Jalen Guyton is going to cut that route across the field as more of a post corner to the far pylon. If it's a too high look, then Jalen Guyton is going to run that route down the middle, split the safeties, and Justin Herbert's going to make the throw. Now, what happened here is Herbert is under pressure right away. So he senses Lorenzo Carter off the left edge and escapes to his right. The Giants show that the too high look. So Jalen Guyton makes a great read, and instead of cutting that route to the corner, he sees the too high look and splits those two safeties, Xavier McKinney and Logan Ryan, and runs a great route down the middle of the field. He splits it. Justin Herbert rolls out to his right, sees Guyton splitting those two safeties. He steps up, and just as he's throwing the ball, he gets absolutely clobbered by Lorenzo Carter, who chased him down from behind. Justin did not see Lorenzo Carter coming, but he's able to get the throw off. It goes 63.8 yards. It goes and goes and goes and goes, and he drops it into a bucket to Jalen Guyton. Chargers take a 24-7 lead, and that was really all she wrote in the game. I mean, Chargers get the ball to start the second half. They run a little leak play where Josh Palmer leaks out from the right side in a 2nd and 6. That's a 36-yard gain. That sets them up deep in Giants territory. They kick a field goal. They're up 27-7 at that point, and then it was just coasting. Turnover on downs from the Giants on the next play. On the next series, I should say. They try a fake punt. I don't know why they tried that. The gunner was covered. It was a weird call. Chargers take over, kick a field goal. It's 30-7. Then comes the Joey Bosa sack fumble. Chargers turn that into 7 points, and then it's 37-7. That's all she wrote. But I mean, this was an MVP moment. And I don't know if he's going to win MVP, and there are a lot of guys in the conversation. Tom Brady's probably having a better season. You could throw Aaron Rodgers in there. I know he's hurt now. Kyler Murray, Josh It's pretty wide open. There isn't a clear-cut candidate right now, but Justin Herbert is in that mix. And if he wins MVP, this is the play that they will show on the highlight reel. I mean, you go through the necessary skills to make that throw, okay? He needs the athleticism and the pocket presence to feel the pressure and escape. He needs the arm strength and accuracy to not only throw the ball 64 yards downfield, but to drop it into a freaking bucket in between two safeties. Right? You couldn't concoct a quarterback with that level of skill in a laboratory. I mean, he checks every single box and he showed it all off on that play. It was the most amazing throw I've ever seen. And I was in the stands at Super Bowl in 2011 when Eli Manning hit Mario Manningham down the sideline for that game-winning drive. Now, the stakes were higher in that game, obviously. You know, that throw leads them to a Super Bowl. But in terms of a pure throw, the best I've ever seen. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was watching. And it happens every week. I mean, he does stuff like this every week. And I tweeted about it. Every week, there's a play where he makes a throw, and I just sit there and I just laugh because I'm like, how is this humanly possible? I mean, seriously, go buy a football. Go to Modell's. I don't know where, I don't know what the equivalent of Modell's is in Los Angeles or Southern California. Go to a sporting goods store, buy a football, go out to a football field, and try and throw it as far as you can. And then you'll really understand how incredible that is. With an edge rusher bearing down on you, getting hit by a 250-pound man to throw the ball that far, that accurately, it's beyond comprehension. And he's 23, and he hasn't even made 30 starts in the league. Where can this go? As far as he wants to take it. He has limitless potential, and it is being realized before our eyes. So that's the main takeaway here. Justin Herbert is #elite, and he's playing at a super high level, and this team is clicking. And I know the Giants aren't a good team, but Chargers are 8-5, and this sets up, a massive Thursday night game. And we can talk about this now. The fact that this game on a Thursday night is just total bullshit. It sucks that this game is on a Thursday night, and I know that you guys are going to be excited for a primetime game to have this on national television. That's a big deal. And I get that. But it's ridiculous that you have a game of this magnitude with two of the best quarterbacks in football, the division on the line, and you're going to force these guys to turn it around in 4 days and go play a football game. Why are we doing this? The players deserve to be at full health for this game. The fans of both the teams deserve to watch their teams at full health. The NFL at large deserves this game and should want this game to be premium, as good as it can be. And they're playing it on a Thursday night. But the schedule is the schedule. So you go out, and this is first place on the line. Chargers win this game. They go to 9-5. Chiefs fall to 9-5, but the Chargers would have the tiebreaker with a 2-0 record against the Chiefs. So this is everything you want in a football game. And we've talked about, Mahomes and Herbert and the budding rivalry and all of that, right? But a lot of that was just projecting. But now it's real. Now it's here. This is the rivalry, and there isn't a lot of history there, right? They've only played each other twice because Mahomes sat out that game at the end of last season. But this is the first real, everything's on the table, division on the line, Justin Herbert versus Patrick Mahomes. And if you're a football fan, you got to be excited. So the other things that I took away from this game, Josh Palmer, right? I wrote my mailbag on Friday. For those that subscribe to The Athletic, you'll know this. I said that my feeling was that they were just going to insert Josh Palmer into Keenan Allen's role because he has that inside-outside flexibility, because he's a good route runner, because he can catch in traffic. I felt like it made a lot of sense just to insert Josh Palmer into that role and just keep the rest of the offense as is. It would mean fewer moving parts, and it would mean more continuity in other facets of the offense, and that's exactly what they did. Josh Palmer played pretty much the entire game. I got to look at the snap counts, but I'm guessing he played 80+% of the snaps. I'm sure he played, about what Keenan Allen plays. He played in the slot primarily, but he also played on the outside as Keenan does. And he made a lot of plays. That route he ran on the touchdown was Keenan Allen-esque, set the corner up with a little shimmy move out of the slot, broke to the outside, and then Justin, being an MVP candidate, being an elite quarterback, threw from the far hash, put it on the money, an absolute dime. I think an underrated throw in this game from him, and gives Palmer the space and the timing to run after the catch and turn that into a touchdown. And then, like I said, he had that leak play, which was just good design from Joe Lombardi. I think he probably could have caught it over his shoulder and maybe scored a touchdown. And Josh Palmer said that he and Justin had that conversation afterwards. But Josh Palmer was just trying to secure the catch, and there's no problem with that. I thought he played an outstanding game. He led the team in targets with 7, which is what Keenan Allen does. He leads the team in targets. I think there were some moments where, on money downs, they didn't look the same because Keenan Allen wasn't out there. But for a rookie to go out there and play 3 positions and do all the things that Keenan Allen does and show up as a run blocker too, that the longest run of the day, Austin Eckler, 17-yard run to the left side, he set the edge there and walled off the cornerback and created that hole. So Josh Palmer took a big step today. I thought he played outstanding in the game and really showed up in a big moment with Keenan Allen out. The third takeaway for me was, these cornerbacks really stepped up. Now, Derwin was out. He had a hamstring injury. And again, after the practice on Friday, he felt a little tight. He came in Saturday morning for the walkthrough, and it was swollen and a little sore. And Brandon Staley said, we're just going to play it safe. We don't want to aggravate this. We don't want to push it. So we're going to keep Derwin James out of the game. Trey Marshall started in his place and played fine. He took a bad angle on that Kyle Rudolph long completion that gave Rudolph an extra 30 yards to run. But other than that, I thought he played well. I thought Nas Adderley stepped up in Derwin James's place, and primarily, Kaiser White played his ass off, man. That guy is playing at a really high level right now, and he had this defense organized. And I know it's against Mike Glennon. I know it's against a cruddy Giants offense, but performance is performance. And Kaiser White showed up today. He had this defense organized. They were seamless in getting these play calls into the huddle, which is Derwin James's role. So hats off to Kaiser White and how he played, and also what he did from a mental standpoint. Signal calling and getting everybody set up and organized. He led the team with 10 tackles. Kaiser White is over 100 tackles in the season. He leads the Chargers with 106 tackles. So great game from Kaiser White, which is just stacking onto a breakout season in his contract year. I wrote about it in the mailbag Friday. Chargers are going to need to pay him based on what he's put on tape this year, and they should pay him because he's a big part of this defense. The other part of the defensive performance that stood out for me is the cornerback showed up, and we have talked about the cornerback play over and over and over again, how Mike Davis isn't living up to his contract, how Tavon Campbell hasn't played well enough at corner with Asante Samuel Jr. out, how Chris Harris, battling through that shoulder injury early in the year, has come back and hasn't looked like the same player. They played awesome football today. Michael Davis, I know he got beat by Saquon at the end. He's going to make mistakes. But the guy showed up, had 4 pass breakups. 2 of them were on deep balls down the field, which is something that he struggled with this season. He had a jump ball with Darius Slayton in the first quarter where he rose up and the ball was underthrown. It was really good ball placement from Mike Glennon. Darius Slayton had a chance to play on the ball to make a play on the ball, and Michael Davis broke that up. And then obviously at the end of the half, Kenny Golladay beats him deep off the line. But I thought Michael Davis did a great job recovering, and that's something that he's done. He's played through the end of the down. He did it on the Jamar Chase play last week against the Bengals, comes up with an interception. But this was a different play. I thought that was kind of lucky because Jamar Chase dropped it. Should have been a touchdown. This one, Kenny Golladay rises up, and Michael Davis makes a great play on the ball and breaks it up. He had 4 pass breakups. Chris Harris had 3 pass breakups, including 1 on third down. Tavon Campbell had a pass breakup. Chargers had 10 pass breakups in the game, which is tied for the 3rd most of any team in football this year in a game. Those 3 guys really played their asses off and stepped up without Derwin James out. And defensively, I mean, we can talk about the 4th quarter. I don't really put a lot of stock into it, as I said at the top. Just going into my takeaways here that are on The Athletic, you can read those. Click on the description. Here's a look at the first 9 drives for the Giants. The Giants went punt, touchdown, punt, end of half, turnover on downs, fumble. 4 of those first 5 possessions were 3 and outs. Can't ask much more than that. Put your backups in there in the fourth quarter to make sure you're ready for a Thursday night game, big Thursday night game against the Chiefs. You give up some garbage time points, who cares? Defense played really well. Joey Bosa comes up with a huge sack fumble. Interesting part about that is they had a stunt called from the coaching staff, and Joey Bosa saw that he was one-on-one with Nate Solder and said, nah, we're not running the stunt. And he gets off the edge, abuses Nate Solder, and comes up with the sack. So those are my major takeaways. I thought the Chargers ran the ball pretty well. I know the final numbers weren't great, but I thought the offensive line really played physical. I thought the offensive line protected well as to allow Herbert to have time in the pocket to operate and find his receivers. I think they finished 4.1 yards per carry, not great, but against a good front, you'll take that. And I thought that just watching the game, you felt a level of physicality from the offensive line. They were able to break a couple runs. Austin Eckler was very efficient. Again, still searching for that running back too. Justin Jackson and Joshua Kelly, not as productive as Austin Eckler. Eckler had just updating you on Eckler's injury. He sprained his ankle, his left ankle. He was dealing with an ankle injury. I'm not positive it's the same ankle that he was dealing with. Staley said he was fine. We'll see what happens for Thursday night. It's probably going to be a toss-up. I think a best case scenario, he's probably a little bit limited. But it doesn't sound like a devastating injury. Eckler left the field, got taped up by the training staff, and Staley said that he would have been able to come back in the game if it was close. He didn't come back in the game because they were blowing him out. So I think that's everything. Let's do some questions. Oh, and Nick Neiman had his first career interception to seal the game. There you go. All right, let's do questions. Why did the run D take a step back? Staley really was adamant on limiting these the Giants receivers. They felt like the Giants were going to try and attack them in the passing game. So they didn't really put a lot of bodies forward. A lot of those rushing yards came on draw plays at a shotgun where the Chargers were, had some soft boxes. So I think it was similar to previous games where the strategy has been take away the passing game and give some rushing yards. You give up some rushing yards, but you only allow 7 points the first 3 quarters. Doesn't matter. It's all about preventing explosive plays in the passing game, which they did for the most part besides the Rudolph long completion. And they forced a ton of 3 and outs. So, went 3 and out in the second possession, 3 and out in the fourth possession, 3 and out on the fifth possession, 3 and out in the sixth possession. So it was really 4 of the first 6, not 4 of the first 5. I get that changed in the takeaways. All right, questions. Who was the backup center? I have to ask Silly about that tomorrow. Based on warmups, it looked like it was Senio Kelemete. So count your blessings that Corey Linsley stayed healthy. Biggest concern for the Chargers this Thursday, getting Keenan Allen back, which it looks like they will. Getting Derwin James back, making sure Eckler's healthy, making sure Justin Jones is healthy. I think the biggest concern is just how physically ready are the Chargers going to be for this game. If the key is making sure Derwin James plays, because he's going to be really crucial to stopping the Chiefs offense, which had a breakout game today against the Raiders. Asante clear concussion protocol. That appears to be the timeline. Is Asante will be back this week, but I'll have an update for you tomorrow. How do you feel about the active roster management from Staley and Telesco leading up to the Giants game? I thought it was fine. They needed they only get 3 call-ups from the practice squad. So I guess hypothetically, they could have signed Emeka Egbuli to the active roster because they had a spot open. And then they could have, activated Ryan Hunter. We can get into that more in the final thoughts tomorrow. I'm going to sort of get Staley's thoughts on what the deal was with not having a backup center and all of that stuff. But the Derwin's injury sort of forced them to use that third spot with Ben DeLuca to make sure that they had depth at safety because they really only had 3 safeties active. Does Canine get Kenneth Murray's not getting traded, guys? He's still dealing with an ankle thing, and that's primarily why he's not playing a lot. They're trying to move him around and find a spot where they can, play him limited snap and also get production out of him. So I think the ankle thing is a big deal right now with Kenneth Murray, and he'd be playing more if he was healthy. Does Derwin James play Thursday? My feeling is that Derwin will play, but I'll know more tomorrow. Pump block, is it on Ty Long? No, the protection was a mess. I mean, there were free runners all over the place, and it wasn't technically a punt. Ty tried to avoid the rusher who was right in his grill and sort of shanked it, but that was on the protection. Do you expect that City will shadow Tyreek with Campbell again? If Asante is back, possibly, but I think they're going to show something different. One thing I can guarantee you is that the Chargers are going to throw some stuff out there that they have not shown all season. There will be a wrinkle, and I don't know what it is. But I'm going to try and dig around and figure out what that wrinkle is before Thursday. Running back 2 and Justin Jackson. He's the second running back right now. Still looking for that production from that spot. I thought he played okay today. Let me see what his final yards per carry were. I got the game book right here. Oh, dropped it. All right, final yards per carry for Justin Jackson, 3.9 on 9 carries. So they're still sort of looking for the production there. But right now, Justin Jackson seems to have be in the driver's seat for that RB2. Is Keenan Allen's lack of speed holding back the Chargers? No. Why is Swinton so sassy in interviews? I don't know. I don't think he likes my questions. Do you think Bulaga will be back soon? No, I would not rely on Brian Bulaga at right tackle. I think Storm Norton's going to start the rest of the games at right tackle. I really have no confidence that Brian Bulaga is going to be back this season. Kenneth Murray traded. I lost my place here. Got a lot of questions about Kenneth Murray's future. I already talked about that, with Kenneth Murray. He's still dealing with an ankle thing. And I think that's a factor here, but they're not going to trade away a guy with that skill set. They're going to try and coach him up and get the most out of him. And it's not a bad thing to have depth. Like we talk about depth all of the time. It's they have a great linebacker room. It's not a bad thing that they have a third linebacker that, could provide depth in case of an injury. Has Gaziano surpassed Covington the D-line rotation? No, he has not. How many Chargers do you think make the Pro Bowl? Justin, Derwin, Lindsley, Bosa, Allen. Zier's got a shot probably. Mike, potentially. Austin, obviously. So I think 7 probably guaranteed. Would you say this is Lombardi's best game as a play caller? One of the better ones this season. The Eagles game was a really good one. Browns game obviously was a really good one. Last week against the Bengals was a really good one. So up there for sure. How much playing time did Murray log? Let me I can grab that for you right now. Let me look it up. I'll keep going on questions while this loads. Is Josh Palmer more of a Keenan replacement than a Mike Williams one? Palmer doesn't seem like an X to me. The beauty of Josh Palmer is he has a very diverse and versatile skill set. So, he can play every wide receiver position. He can play the X, he can play F, he can play Z, meaning he can play outside, he can play inside. He can pretty much run any route. They really feel like Palmer has deep field capabilities too, which we've seen some of. So, that's sort of the beauty of him is he can play Keenan's role. He can play Mike's role. The reason I sort of say he's more of a Mike replacement is just because Mike's, obviously on his 5th-year option, and they're going to have to make a decision on him this offseason. So that's why I sort of say that he's more of a Williams replacement, just because of the way the cap is set up, the cap sheet, and how Mike's going to be a free agent. But Palmer can really do anything that you want a receiver to do, and on top of that, he's a good blocker. So, all right, I got the snap counts up. Let's look at defensive snaps. 21 snaps for Kenneth Murray. And I would say a vast majority of those came at edge rusher. Is Ty Long just slow with his delivery? I think it's more of a protection issue. I've been meaning to ask Darius Swinton about that. I haven't gotten around to it, so I'll try and ask him this week. For me, it's more of a protection issue, just from what I've watched on tape. It can feel like a punter is taking a lot of time if the protection's really bad and he's constantly, under pressure. That's not a world you want to live in on punt team. Hey, Pop, are you thinking the rising Chiefs defense is a real threat? Yeah, they're legit. The Chiefs defense is legit, and Spagnuolo's been doing this in the league for a long time. So it certainly is a Melvin Ingram revenge game. Like, keep an eye out for that, because he's definitely gonna be playing with a chip. Sounds like Derwin was held out to make sure he's available Thursday. I actually asked Staley that specifically. Like, did Thursday night game factor into the decision? Staley gave it a hard no. So you can believe that or you cannot believe that. He said that they didn't want to push it, and even if they had a full week and it was a Sunday game after Sunday, that Derwin wouldn't have played. You can buy that or you cannot buy it. But I asked, and that was the answer. All right, what else we got? Joe Brady, a possibility? Nah. I'm guessing he's going to head back to college, just because of how the hiring cycles work. He can take a college job right now. In the NFL, he's going to have to wait until January when the staff start getting put together. So, what'd you shoot at Torrey Pines? I shot a 104 with 3 pars, 48 on the front, and then sort of collapsed on the back as the rough got to me. My little brother shot a 98. He's a 12 handicap, and then my dad shot a 96. He won, and my dad's like a 10 or 11 handicap. I'm like a 22. I don't play that much. Brian says, Daniel, I listen to you every morning on my way to work. Thank you for everything you do. Shout out to you, Brian, for being a part of the stream. What was the crowd like today? Thought it was a great crowd. I feel like it was definitely pro Chargers. Every game's kind of been like that, pretty split crowd, but full, and the energy's been fantastic. All right. Anybody got more questions? What do I think of the obnoxiously loud touchdown cannon? It has almost given me a heart attack on numerous occasions. Um, Kenneth Murray is not getting traded. Kenneth Murray is not getting traded. He's not getting traded. He's not getting traded. Kenneth Murray is not getting traded. Someone clip this out and put it on Twitter so it can be retweeted. Kenneth Murray is not getting traded. Did they really play the Price is Right fail horn after the fake punt? They did. They sure did that. All right, we'll do 2 more questions because we're done with the beer. And as we know, I freaking forgot the saying. When the hops are done, the pop is over. Yeah? Sick. That was a good one. When the hops are done. Can someone in the chat remind me of what the saying is? What is your deep dive topic for this week? I'm not going to have time to do a film review this week just because of the quick turnaround. So the plan, when the beer is done, the stream is done. All right. Hops done, pops done. Shout out Joseph Clark for remembering that. Okay, yeah. So, all right. We're getting some questions about content for this week. All right. Anybody have any more? What's one rule in the NFL you think needs to be removed? I like that question. The freaking rule where if you fumble in through the end zone, it's a touchback for the other team, and they start at the 20. I think that's stupid. I've talked about this before. My change to the rule would be if you fumble through the end zone, then the offensive team, the team that fumbled it, then gets it at the 20, not with a fresh set of downs. So let's say you fumble in the end zone on like a second down. You would then get it on the 20 on third down, but you keep the ball. Yeah, I think it's my best idea. Like, I think it's literally my best idea. Okay, DPI being a spot foul, I could see that, but what do you change it to? That's the thing. Because you need to make pass interference a pretty lofty penalty. So what do you change it to? The one thing I've seen that was interesting is making it like a degree penalty, kind of like running into the kicker versus roughing the kicker, which is 5 yards versus 15 yards. So maybe you have 1 degree of PI that's a 15-yard penalty and 1 degree of PI that's a spot foul. But the problem is if you make it 15, the problem is if there's a deep ball and you're beat, then there's a full-on incentive to tackle the guy. Like that would be how you coach it. Like if there's a deep ball and you don't feel like you're in a good position to make a play, you just tackle the guy and you take the 15 yards. Yeah, so like I feel like DPI should be adjusted. I just don't know what the answer is. And so my stance on this stuff is like if I don't have a good change to the rule, then I don't really complain about it. And then obviously roughing the passer is just a freaking joke. So all right, anyone have questions? If we're out of questions, then I'll do a little rundown of how the week's going to work with content, and we'll get out of here, and I'll go watch Succession. People that are here for the Herbert MVP talk need to watch the recap because that was like the first 15 minutes of the stream. Joey Bosa needs to get on the mic more. He does, but they've been kind of weird about that since the whole COVID situation. So he only does Zooms, so we're supposed to get him tomorrow. Tomo says he missed the first 30 minutes. Tomo, go watch the recap. I did a big rant about Herbert and being in the MVP race. Or better yet, if you want all the Herbert MVP talk, click the link below. Go read my takeaways in The Athletic where I wrote about 1,000 words about how Justin Herbert should be in the MVP race. All right, we're getting some regurgitated questions here from guys or gals or other who joined the stream late. So we're going to do a little rundown of the content for this week, and then we'll get out of here. And obviously, we'll do a stream, probably not late Thursday night because no one's up, but we'll do it. We'll do a stream on Friday. So, first things first, takeaways from the game are below. If you are not subscribed to The Athletic, click the link and subscribe to read all of my content. Tomorrow, we'll have our final thoughts, going through all of the loose ends from the game, tying that all together. And then I'm trying to think of what I want to do. So mailbag will be Wednesday. Or maybe we'll do the mailbag Thursday. So, okay. So definitely final thoughts tomorrow. I'm going to try my best to put together a film review for you guys this week, either Tuesday or Wednesday. And then we'll do the mailbag for Thursday morning as a lead into the game. So I will probably send out the tweet for mailbag questions on Tuesday morning, and we'll get those, and we'll get that for Thursday. And then if I have the energy and bandwidth, I will get a film review in for you guys Tuesday or Wednesday. But that's to be determined because it is a short week and it's a lot to get done. But I'm gonna try because I love you guys, and I work as hard as I can to get you the best Chargers content on the internet. So. Final score from SoFi Stadium: Chargers 37, Giants 21. The Chargers improved to 8-5 on the season. They are in 5th place in the AFC West. They play the Chiefs on Thursday night with first place in the division on the line. It sure feels good to be covering meaningful football in December. I will tell you that. Appreciate all you guys coming to the stream, as always, and I will talk to you later in the week. And hit me up on Twitter if you have any questions. Keep an eye out for that mailbag tweet. But love you guys. Peace out. Have a great night.